My fiancée posted on her private social media account that she wanted to be proposed to. I thought my girlfriend of 12 years had finally come around. I spent $1 million overnight preparing a grand proposal. Yet, she still publicly rejected me. Liam, can you stop obsessing over getting married and focus half your attention on our company? Later, I saw her wearing a cheap ring made by the company's junior assistant. At that moment, I wasn't jealous or angry. I just felt incredibly tired. Liam, why are you so obsessed with marriage? Are you that desperate to get hitched? Can't you focus half your attention on our company? Olivia, once again, rejected my proposal. Surrounded by our friends, I felt like a bucket of cold water had been dumped on me as I knelt on one knee. Fortunately, the proposal was held at the villa, and everyone present was a longtime friend. They had been excitedly cheering me on earlier, but now they all fell silent, exchanging awkward glances before looking at me with sympathy. I lowered my head and softly explained, I saw your post. I thought you changed your mind. Olivia paused, taken aback. What post? Before she finished, she seemed to realize something, her face paling slightly. My heart sank. Last week, Olivia had posted on her private account that she wanted to be proposed to, but she had blocked me from seeing it. A friend had forwarded it to me. I'd thought she was hinting at me, so within a month, I'd contacted our friends to help arrange the proposal. The diamond ring was the latest design from DR, which Olivia had long desired. Every year, I would buy her a new ring for proposal and then use the old ring the following year to trade for the newest design. The bouquet was comprised of her favorite Louis XIV roses, imported by Air. Olivia had always wanted a grand and romantic proposal, so I had spent a fortune to decorate the villa. I had been preparing for this moment for years, but it seemed that her post was not intended for me. The ring in my hand felt scorching hot. I couldn't bear to throw it, nor could I bear to keep it. Olivia frowned, then said, Does everything on social media have to be taken literally? If I say I want to die on social media, are you going to actually kill me? Liam, you're not a child anymore. Why are you being so immature? How can I trust you with marriage if you act like this? One of our friends couldn't stand by any longer. Olivia, Liam put a lot of effort into this proposal. He really wants to marry you. Not to mention, this whole ceremony cost almost $1 million. Everything was chosen to be the most expensive and the best according to your taste. Olivia frowned and looked at me. Our friend thought she was starting to waver, but the next second, she sighed deeply. Liam, you're too extravagant. Do you know what $1 million means? $1 million can support a regular family for decades, cover a person's medical expenses for years, maybe even save someone's life, yet you waste it on such a meaningless thing. Her words were full of disgust. But the Olivia I knew was once a lover of luxury goods. She never had such a strong sense of charity. I knew who she was talking about. Just as I was about to say something, a young man quickly walked in. He was slender and full of youthful energy. Olivia, are you ready? We need to get going. Oh, wow, there are so many people. Liam, are you proposing? I'm sorry, did I come at the wrong time? Did I interrupt something? I'll leave now, he said, but didn't move. Seeing him, Olivia's tone softened. Wait a moment. I'll sort this out soon. She then turned to me and said, Liam, I don't know what you are worried about, but don't do such childish things. I'll marry you, but not anytime soon. She sighed, smiled at our friends and explained, Sorry to bother you all. I have something to do, so I'll go first. With that, she turned and left with Ethan. Before leaving, Ethan looked back at me and said, Liam, don't think too much. I just wanted Olivia to help me pick a gift for my mom. She's a woman and knows what women want. Olivia interrupted, All right, don't explain yourself so much to him. We've been together for over 10 years. Don't we have that much trust in each other? With that, they both disappeared out the door. Just like usual. But this time, I wasn't angry, frustrated, or jealous. In fact, I was surprisingly calm. Perhaps it was because this had happened too many times. I had simply grown numb. Ethan was Olivia's new assistant. During his job interview, he said his family was poor, that their farm had been sabotaged, leading to significant financial Loss. To pay for his schooling, his father would go door to door borrowing money before dawn. His mother, in order to afford his living expenses, had worked so hard that her eyesight had almost failed by the time she was in her 50s. He finally managed to get into university, but his father was diagnosed with leukemia. Because they couldn't afford the treatment, they had no choice but to give up, leaving him and his mother alone in the world. When I first heard this story, I felt sorry for him and offered him some personal help, helping him apply for grants and financial aid. Ethan was endlessly grateful to me. But the same evening, Olivia angrily threw the money in my face. "Liam, you've gone too far. Ethan may be poor, but that's no reason for you to insult him." I was dumbfounded by her outburst. There were many more times later when Olivia came to me because of Ethan. That's when I realized I was right. Ethan was trying to sow discord between us. I tried to explain, but Olivia wouldn't listen. "Do your own thing and don't interfere with my people. Ethan is my assistant. I know what kind of person he is. Just because you're my boyfriend doesn't mean I'll tolerate you. I can tell who is right and wrong." I thought she was only protecting him at work. But then she started texting with Ethan frequently. She missed my birthday and our anniversary because of Ethan. One moment, she would use the excuse of being busy at work to avoid even a single meal with me, and the next moment, she would be spending time with Ethan, going to the movies. I looked at the romantically decorated yard. A balloon string seemed loose in the distance, wobbling as it floated into the sky. My friends looked at each other, wondering how to comfort me. I smiled, stood up amidst their concerned gazes, and calmly said, "Thanks for today, everyone. Don't worry about me. This farce should end here." One of my friends came up to me. "Liam, think it over carefully. We've all witnessed your relationship with Olivia. That's why no one wants to speak out. Although you've been together for 10 years, you'll be with each other for decades to come. I advise you," he trailed off, sighing before patting my shoulder. Another friend advised, "When making a major decision, it's best not to consider sunk costs. No matter what you decide, we will support you." These were my and Olivia's best friends. They had witnessed our relationship and seen our love slowly crumble. They all helped clean up the villa and then left. It was okay for them to know about my embarrassment. I knew they wouldn't talk about it, and Olivia wouldn't use it as a form of bragging. But in the evening, I saw a post pinned to the top of the company forum. It was an anonymous post, talking about how someone in the company had a proposal rejected. Many people were making fun, speculating about who it was. Some people suspected that the man was using the proposal as a form of moral kidnapping and implied that the man deserved it. It didn't take me long to guess who had posted it. Before I could even confront them, Ethan came to me first. He sent me a picture of his hand holding the eye drops that I had left in Olivia's car. "Liam, Olivia lent me her car because I have to go outside so often. There's a bottle of eye drops in the car. She said they were yours. Do you still need them? If so, I'll drop them by tomorrow." His words were impeccable, but every single sentence was full of provocation. In the past, I would have called him up, and then he would have given some pitiful explanation, followed by Olivia coming to his defense, leading to another argument. But today, I simply had no energy to argue. I replied directly, "Keep them." After thinking for a moment, I added, "If you don't need them, just throw them away. I don't like using things that others have touched." I then put my phone on silent mode. I opened my computer and saw an email from a foreign businessman. It was essentially a repeated request to me to start my own company, offering me $10 million of interest-free funding. I had once worked with them on a project while looking for partners for my and Olivia's company. Though we didn't end up working together because of Ethan, the businessman remembered me. He had analyzed the shortcomings of our company and tried to poach me. At the time, I had refused without hesitation. But now, he was still not giving up, and he seemed to be even more accommodating than before. In the past, I would have refused again. I knew the company's condition well. Ethan was taking advantage of Olivia's influence at the company. Once he'd complained that people were talking behind his back, and Olivia directly fired the 2 core technical staff members. The company's public system crashed that day. There was a lot of outside speculation, but I managed to salvage the situation, and the incident was contained. This failed collaboration was also because Ethan was offended by what the businessman had said. In anger, Olivia terminated the contract unilaterally. My team's 3 months of effort had gone to waste. But I didn't care. Money could be earned again. Partners could be found again. But a girlfriend was unique. How could I give her up? But now I was wavering. I regarded Olivia as my girlfriend, but I didn't know what she thought of me. I replied to the email, letting him know that I'd take 3 months to consider. He must have sensed my shift in interest because he replied within 2 seconds, asking when I'd be flying abroad. This was the company Olivia and I founded together. Even if I really did leave, I should inform her so that she could prepare. I opened my phone and saw that Olivia had called me several times. I guessed it was because of my reply to Ethan earlier. I laughed at myself. Olivia was always too busy to contact me, but she wasn't busy when she was with Ethan. Without thinking too much about it, I texted her that I was thinking about going abroad. In less than a second, I saw a large exclamation mark next to my message. She had blocked me. This was how she always was. Whenever she was unhappy, she would give me the silent treatment, blocking all my contact methods, and sometimes even go missing for the night. One time, I had been so worried I was on the verge of calling the police. I turned off my phone and curled up on the sofa, feeling somewhat lost. What kind of stubbornness had I once possessed that made me endure Olivia's petty, yet exhausting tantrums over and over again? I began to recall the familiar yet strange Olivia. She had once been completely devoted to me. When we were very poor, she did part-time jobs to help relieve my financial burdens. One time she got into trouble and didn't know how to make up for it, so she hid at the corner of our building and cried. In order not to worry me, she lied and said she was having dinner with her colleagues. I eventually found her crying. She told me everything while holding me. I helped her pay the compensation, and she cried so hard, telling me over and over, "Liam, I'll always remember this day. When we get rich, I'll pay you back twice as much." I didn't know if she remembered that day, but after we had money, she never paid me back. In fact, she became increasingly lost. The old her would have trusted me without a doubt, but the new her placed her trust in Ethan and always questioned the sincerity of my words. I don't know how long I was lost in memories. When the sound of the door woke me up, I realized it was already dawn. Thinking it was Olivia, I turned on the light, but when it lit up, I saw Ethan standing at the door. "Olivia, luckily you added my fingerprint in advance, otherwise, I might not have been able to get in," Ethan said, smiling as he helped a drunk Olivia into the house. "You let her drink?" I frowned. "She's severely allergic to alcohol. How much did you let her drink?" Ethan sounded apologetic. "I'm sorry, Liam. Today was my mother's birthday. We were all so happy. I just let Olivia drink a little more. You can blame me. But I've already given her allergy medicine. She should be okay. I remember there's honey in the first cupboard on the top shelf in the kitchen. You can make Olivia some honey water. That will help her wake up without a headache." His words were gentle and considerate. He even knew where everything was. It seemed he'd been in my house many times without my knowing. "Never mind. It's late. Liam, you should go to bed. I'll make it." Ethan was very familiar as he walked towards the kitchen, but Olivia seemed to sober up a bit and got out of his embrace. "Ethan, you drank a lot too. Stop busying around and let Liam do it. Liam, make 2 bowls of honey water. Ethan needs it too." Seeing that I wasn't moving, she pushed me. "What are you waiting for?" Ethan quickly said, "Liam, you might be too tired. I'll do it." Tired? What could he be tired of? If he wasn't tired, he wouldn't be only thinking about marriage all the time. After speaking, she scolded me. "Liam, I'm beginning to think you're actually getting more and more childish. Look at you. How are you even comparable to Ethan? Not only do you not answer the phone, but now I'm finally home, and Ethan knows to care about me. But you, as my boyfriend, are just standing there like a piece of wood. If Ethan hadn't talked me out of it, I would have broken up with you long ago." Ethan anxiously stopped her. "Olivia, don't talk like that. You're drunk?" He deliberately held Olivia's hand. I saw a cheap glass ring on her middle finger. Ethan once mentioned that it was the ring his mother had prepared for his future daughter-in-law. It was now on Olivia's hand. The meaning was self-evident. My last ounce of affection for Olivia had vanished. Olivia was still insisting she wasn't drunk, staggering and leaning against Ethan again. Ethan, helplessly, looked at me. Sorry, Liam. Look at Olivia. Why don't you sleep somewhere else tonight? I laughed. I realized that my repeated tolerance wouldn't resolve the conflict, but rather encourage such people's arrogance. If that was the case, why should I continue to wrong myself? Without hesitation, I grabbed his collar, and despite his struggle, I threw him out the door, saying coldly, "Get out." Olivia almost fell to the ground and finally sobered up. When she saw me throwing Ethan out, she panicked. Liam, what are you doing? Why are you throwing Ethan out? Seeing her frantic expression, I grabbed a glass of water from the table and threw it on her without hesitation. She widened her eyes in shock. You dare pour water on me? I didn't explain. My tone was cold. Are you awake? If so, you get out too. Olivia, we're over. Liam, what did you just say? You want to kick me out? Olivia stared at me in disbelief. After a moment, she seemed to realize something. She looked at Ethan and, as if her anger had been quenched, softly coaxed him. Okay, I understand. You're just jealous of Ethan being here, right? Why didn't you just say something directly? Ethan, you can go back first, she said, waving her hand towards Ethan. Ethan's voice sounded wronged. I'm sorry, Olivia. Liam, it's my fault. I was just joking. I didn't think Liam would really get angry. Then I'll go first. Please contact me if you need anything. Ethan took a few steps away, then looked back at us again. Okay. Olivia grabbed a piece of paper from the side and began to wipe the water off her clothes as she walked inside. Are you satisfied now? Seeing her about to enter the door, I raised my arm and placed it against the doorframe, blocking her path. Olivia looked up, confused. What else do you want? Olivia, you seem to have misunderstood. What I just said was that we're breaking up, and this is no longer your home. Olivia scoffed. All right, Liam, stop it. Ethan is gone now. I guarantee that today's incident won't happen again, okay? She dismissed it, wanting to go inside after having placated me as she always did. But I didn't move out of her way. Her hand froze. Maybe seeing that I wasn't joking with her, her disdainful gaze changed to shock. She looked at me, almost unable to believe what she was seeing. Are you serious? I didn't speak. She was close to tears. Liam, we've been together for 10 years. I stood by you for 10 years. Now you want to break up with me? Why? Because of that ring on your finger. Speaking of the ring, I surprisingly felt calm, neither angry nor jealous, as if I were discussing an unimportant matter. You don't like the rings I gave you, but you seem to love Ethan's ring. I'm willing to step aside. I wish you well. Olivia seemed to have just registered what I said. She subconsciously covered her hand, but soon realized it was too late. Her face paled as she quickly took the ring off. This was Ethan's mother who insisted on giving it to me. She's very old and has suffered a lot. Her biggest wish is to see her son get married. I couldn't bear to see her sad, so I just forgot to take it off. It doesn't mean anything else. The ring you forgot, and the house and the car you gave to Ethan, did you forget those two? I asked calmly. Seeing that Ethan's living situation was bad, she had secretly bought a house for him, with his name on the title deed. There was a period when she didn't come home at night, or came home very late. She was there. I only understood this today. Once I connected the dots of her relationship with Ethan, the answers to all the previously unsolvable questions suddenly appeared. Each delayed answer seemed to shout at me that I was a clown. Seeing Olivia's face become increasingly pale, and how she had no defense, I laughed self-deprecatingly. 10 years of relationship was truly tiresome. I could accept Olivia being romantically interested in another person, but I couldn't convince myself that I could remain calm, or believe there was still something between us after being treated like a fool and having been manipulated. Ethan hadn't gone far. After eavesdropping by the stairs for a while, he quickly returned. He apologized, wronged, Liam, I'm sorry. I really didn't know you'd mind these things. Olivia is just helping me out of sympathy. If you do mind them, I can return them." He then grabbed Olivia's arm, as if very anxious. "Olivia, don't be angry with Liam. I'll return everything. Please apologize to Liam. You guys have been together for 10 years. You shouldn't fall out over such a small matter." Ethan knew her well. Olivia was stubborn and liked to save face. The more you try to get her to give in, the more she will straighten her spine like a steel rod. In our 10 years together, I had never raised my voice to her. No matter what she did, I would patiently talk to her when she was in a good mood. This was the first time I was so firm, and she still believed she hadn't done anything wrong. Naturally, her rebellious tendencies became even stronger. As expected, after this remark, Olivia's temper flared. "Apologize? We've been together for 10 years, and for 10 years, he hasn't even given me the trust one deserves. You want to break up? Fine, break up. But let's get this straight. The company is ours and my name is on it. I want half." I shrugged. "No need. Take it all." Olivia was left speechless, as if she wanted to say something, but she moved her lips without uttering a single word. Then, she grabbed Ethan's hand angrily, intertwined her fingers with his, and turned to leave. As they walked downstairs, she deliberately walked closely beside him, even more intimate than before. She was clearly trying to provoke me, but my emotions remained calm. Like a stone thrown into an ocean wave, there was no sign of ripples. The next morning, I submitted my resignation and booked the earliest flight to go abroad, planning to stay for half a month to investigate things. Before leaving, I listed the house with an agency, offering it for a price slightly lower than market value. After the company was given to Olivia, this was all I had left. As soon as I arrived at the airport, I received a message from Olivia. It was a photo of her arm bleeding. She had unblocked me just to show me this, which was a clear signal that she wanted me to offer her a way out. Olivia was starved for love. When we were together, I always filled her emotional needs. Every time she sent me a message, I would think about it carefully and reply. Seriously. Perhaps this was why she took it for granted, always believing that I wouldn't be sad, hurt, disappointed, or ever have any negative emotions toward her. After a moment of thought, I added Olivia to my blacklist. We had broken up anyway. There's a saying that a good ex should be like the dead. After doing all of this, I realized how refreshing it felt. No wonder Olivia always seemed so refreshed after she blocked me. The air felt much cleaner. After boarding the plane, I turned on airplane mode and focused on processing the data I had obtained yesterday. It was only when I connected to the internet to contact the businessman that I discovered several messages had been flooding my phone. There were messages from former colleagues. "Liam, why did you resign?" CEO Olivia seemed particularly angry today. "She threw a fit this morning and hasn't come back since. She must miss you. Please go back." There were messages from friends. "Liam, did you really break up with Olivia? Don't be sad. Who knows how fate works? I believe there will be someone more suitable for you. Whatever you do, your brothers support you." And there was a message from Ethan. "Liam, Olivia accidentally injured her arm while taking care of my mother. But don't worry, the doctor has already treated it." There was also a photo attached. It showed Olivia sitting in front of Ethan's mother's hospital bed, her head lowered as she was peeling an apple for her. The virtuous manner was unfamiliar to me. Not long ago, I had an operation for stomach illness and stayed in the hospital for 3 days. I had wanted Olivia to take care of me for a few days, but she only came once, complaining that the smell of disinfectant in the hospital was unbearable. The next day, she hired a nurse and never went to the hospital again. I felt very down during that time. The only time I asked for her to be by my side, she became impatient. "Does it matter who takes care of you? Even if I go, will your illness get better any faster? I'm not your cure. Take care of yourself and stop overthinking. I still have company matters to handle." Later, I realized that during that time, Olivia was not busy at work, but was in fact spending time with Ethan, moving into his new home. Her complaining about the smell of disinfectant was fake. Her disgust at being with me was real. I chuckled. I also blacklisted Ethan's number. After staying abroad briefly, I spoke to the businessman. I then went out every day to conduct research. I also made time to learn the local language in order to overcome some of the communication barriers with the locals. After half a month, I had a rough understanding of the market and realized that it was indeed a very good business opportunity. Soon after, I applied for a long-term visa. There was also news from the agency that a buyer had successfully bought my house. After completing the necessary paperwork and deducting the agency fees, the remaining money was transferred to my card. I thought things would be peaceful from there, until a week later, I received a call from an unknown number late at night. Hesitantly, I picked it up. Olivia's slightly hoarse voice came through the earpiece. Her tone, unlike her usual domineering way toward me, was actually a bit cautious. "Liam, did you sell the villa?" Her voice was trembling. I had wanted to hang up immediately, but after thinking about it, I decided that I needed to make things clear to her. I was the sole investor when buying the villa, so the right to dispose of it should be mine. Olivia seemed anxious. "That's not what I meant. I meant we lived in that house for 5 years." I pretended not to understand what she meant. I feigned realization. "Oh yeah, 5 years. And it was the only property under my name, so I didn't need to pay income tax on it. It sold very quickly." "Liam, I'm talking to you about something serious." Olivia's voice began to tremble even more. "Did you really break up with me? What else do you think?" I was surprised. Did Olivia still think I was joking with her? Her voice sounded like she was crying. "But I didn't really want to break up with you. I was just angry when I agreed to the breakup, and I've been waiting for you to coax me. If you just coax me, I'll be with you again like before." Her tone was even a little aggrieved. "If it's because of Ethan, I've already fired him. I also found out that he made fun of you online. I've already given him the punishment he deserves." This surprised me. She never thought Ethan was wrong. She always felt that Ethan had a reason, so there was no right or wrong to speak of, let alone any punishment. Olivia continued, "Liam, we've been together for 10 years. 10 years. How many decades does a person have? How can we break up so easily? Didn't you want to propose?" Knowing what she was going to say next, I interrupted her. "I'm sorry, Miss Olivia. It's now early morning where I am. If there's nothing important, I'll hang up." "Don't hang up," Olivia said anxiously. Perhaps realizing that we were still on the phone, she paused for a moment before speaking again with a sincere tone. Her voice tinged with pleading. "Liam, please come back. I need you. It's your company that needs me, right?" I chuckled. "You know?" Olivia's voice on the other end weakened. Although I hadn't been following domestic affairs for some time, I was still in contact with colleagues and friends. I was pretty much aware of Olivia's situation. She had ruined another important project for Ethan, but this time they had hit a brick wall. The other company directly sued them, demanding 5 times the compensation. The company could afford 5 times the compensation, but Ethan, wanting to prove Olivia's preference for him, went out of his way to provoke the project manager, who didn't tolerate his actions and live-streamed everything online. After seeing the video, netizens began to discuss it. Most of the comments were negative. The company's forum was flooded with angry messages. Olivia and Ethan were both exposed. Many partners, concerned about the impact on their own companies' reputations, all proposed terminating the contract. The staff, who had long resented Ethan, didn't want to deal with the mess and began to resign. The company was already in a critical condition. This had nearly broken it. I knew Olivia well. She would never think of me if she wasn't in trouble. "But it's not just for the company, Liam. I can't forget you. I still have feelings for you," she explained to me urgently. I simply laughed. "Miss Olivia, after a while, you will understand that some things are not decided by whether you want it or not, or by whether you have feelings or not." I didn't waste any more words and hung up. Normally, if I hung up on her first, I would have been blacklisted. But that didn't happen. After the call was disconnected, Olivia sent me a message. "Liam, I will prove it to you. A few days later, I saw how Olivia wanted to prove herself. In just a few days, I had traveled all over the city for the establishment of the new company. With the funding from the foreign businessman, the company was located in the CBD business district. Some of the staff were recommended by the foreign businessman, while others were my former colleagues who had heard about my plan. They had come without hesitation after applying for their passports. On the opening day, the company was bustling with excitement. The friends who had come for the ribbon-cutting ceremony were accommodated at the hotel for the celebration. Amidst the clinking of glasses, I gazed at the faces, the ornate banquet hall, the towering cake, and I was momentarily reminded of 10 years ago. When the company was first founded, there was only Olivia and me. We had held a humble celebration. We sat in a small room of less than 10 square meters in a basement, looking at a 4-inch cake while sharing our aspirations. Liam, I have a premonition that our company will definitely become big. When that happens, you'll wear a suit and bring me up on stage in front of everyone, making everyone envy me for being by your side all these years. You can't turn bad and leave me then, okay? Her eyes were sparkling at the time, even more so than the banquet hall. Mr. Liam, would you like to say a few words? A friend's voice interrupted my memories. I shook myself back to the present and, with a smile, walked to the center of the stage. Just as I was about to speak, my gaze swept across the guests and I spotted a familiar figure. I thought I must have been seeing things, until Olivia rushed into the banquet hall. Under everyone's watchful eyes, she slowed her pace, her eyes gradually reddening. Liam, I made it. You remember our promise, right? She took a diamond ring out of her pocket and walked in front of me. The person who bought the villa called me, saying that he found this ring in the house. Liam, I know you can't let me go. Let's start over again. Let's go back to the way it was, okay? Her eyes were full of hope. I knew that if I proposed to her right now, she would accept it without any hesitation. The guests, who had no idea what was happening, wanted to cheer, but seeing the silence, they awkwardly lowered their raised hands. I looked into her eyes and raised my hand, showing her the ring on my finger. I'm sorry, Miss Olivia. I'm already married. At the same time, a young woman rose from the crowd, walked up to me, and asked Olivia in a confused yet polite tone, "Hello, ma'am. Who are you? Do you know my husband?" Her ring finger also bore a ring with a similar design as mine. Unlike the expensive diamond ring I had used when proposing to Olivia, these rings were plain, with only small diamonds. The woman took my hand, and we gazed lovingly into each other's eyes. Olivia stood there, frozen. She didn't even notice the ring falling to the ground. How could this be? How is this possible? She shook her head and staggered backward. It was as if she was acting in a movie. No way, Liam. How could you get married so fast? You're definitely lying to me. You have to be. The ring you bought is so cheap. You don't really love her. You're only putting on an act, right? Have you forgotten what you said? You said you'd only marry me. You said you'd never abandon me no matter what. She was incoherent. Finally, she almost frantically tried to snatch the ring from my hand. The people around her reacted and quickly stopped her. Some who didn't know her treated her like a troublemaker and roughly pinned her to the ground. Olivia cried out, a pair of tear-filled eyes fixed on me. Liam, please don't do this. She pleaded. Looking at her eyes, I couldn't help but wonder if I had looked this ugly and horrible when she was being intimate with Ethan. It's been so long. I couldn't quite remember. I called the hotel's front desk, asking them to take Olivia out. Olivia struggled, continuously cursing me. Finally, she grabbed onto one of the columns of the hall. Desperately, Liam, how could you treat me like this in front of everyone? I remembered this. Olivia had publicly rejected my proposal, publicly cursed me for Ethan, and publicly slapped me for Ethan. I had once looked at her like this, unable to believe she could do this to me. Now, I was just treating her the way she had treated me. It turned out, it was this difficult for her to accept. Finally, Olivia was thrown out by security. The young woman, seeing that she had finally left, took off the ring and put it into my palm. She rubbed her nose and said, slightly annoyed, "Is my acting that bad? Did they find out it's fake?" I smiled. It's not bad. Maybe it's just that she knows me too well. After all, we'd been together for 10 years. Olivia knew my madness in relationships and had gambled that I would never be able to start a new relationship in such a short amount of time. She kept being so unbridled because she believed she could win the gamble. I was the same. Yesterday, a friend had apologized to me. They confessed that they had told Olivia my whereabouts, and I knew she would come. I had also asked for some help in putting on a show. Whether the show was real or not didn't matter. What mattered was to let Olivia understand that she had lost this gamble. I could not start a new relationship, but I would never make amends with her, because that would be a betrayal to the version of myself that had once been so wounded. Olivia's outburst didn't cause much reaction. People quickly forgot about the incident. The company was soon back on track, and with previous experience, it grew rapidly. In a year, it seized the opportunity and profits increased more than tenfold. Olivia was not so lucky. The company's difficulties were not resolved. After a long period of decline, it soon went bankrupt and had to be liquidated. One day, while I was talking on the phone with a friend, he mentioned Olivia. Olivia went back to China not long ago and married Ethan. We tried to persuade her that Ethan clearly had ill intentions, but she wouldn't listen. She was determined to be with Ethan. His family was basically using Olivia like a maid. Even while she was pregnant, she had to take care of them. Last time I was out shopping, I saw Ethan's mom, for some reason, publicly curse at Olivia. Ethan stood beside them, not helping, but joining in his mom's tirade. They're all bullying Olivia now because she doesn't have money. Before, they couldn't do enough to please her. We tried to help her a few times, but they said that every time Ethan saw Olivia contact us, he would abuse her. A while ago, Olivia had a miscarriage because of Ethan's violence. Ethan was brought to court, and the two finally divorced. She's having a pretty miserable time. Sigh. It was so good when she was with you, but she just had to make trouble. My friend sighed. I agreed with him a few times before hanging up. From the bedroom, I heard my wife's joyful voice, "Liam, come quick, the baby's kicking me again." Years had passed. I had finally moved on from that relationship. I'd built a new family and had a wife who was completely devoted to me. I looked at the wedding photo on the sofa wall in the living room, smiled, and stood up. "I'm coming."